Hello and welcome to Shelton Infant School. I've been working with Mr Kershaw's class for the last 10 weeks and I normally would come in and do a singing project with them. But this year, because of COVID-19, we haven't been allowed to do so much singing, and so we decided we would make a musical. And the children have had to learn all sorts of new skills. Apart from a small amount of singing, we've also been composing our own music. We've been creating sound effects. We've learned a range of new words, which are all written up there for you to see. And we were trying to decide what would be a good subject for our musical. And of course, COVID-19 seemed to be the best subject. And so we thought of the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. In Germany, in the town of Hamelin, they had a pandemic of their own, but it wasn't COVID-19, it was rats. So I'm going to hand over to the children in Mr Kershaw's class now for our musical version of the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
Once upon a time there was a small town called Hamelin. Hamelin was near a river in Germany. It was a nice town, but the people did not look after it properly. They threw their rubbish on the roads, outside their houses and everywhere they went, and nobody cleaned it up. Because of all the rubbish, the town was filled with rats. Because of the rats, the people were getting poorly. The rats were everywhere. In the cradles, they ate the cheeses and the biscuits. They even opened boxes of cereals. They made their nests inside people's shoes and hats. They were even in the school classrooms, squeaking and shrieking. The children couldn't hear their teachers. The people of Hamelin had had enough. They went to see the mayor and demanded that he did something to get rid of the rats. The mayor heard the people shouting and came out.
What's the matter?
We want you to get rid of the rats now!
The mayor talked to the people, but they could not think of a way to get rid of the rats. Suddenly there came a knocking on the door.
Come in.
A man entered the room, the strangest man anyone had ever seen. He was wearing a long coat, which was half red and half yellow.
Have you run away from the circus? Ha 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 ha!
People call me the Pied Piper. When I play my pipe, I can make creatures follow me. Creatures that are harmful like moles, spiders, snakes and rats.
Rats? You can make rats follow you?
Yes, I can.
Okay, lay your pipe and free us from these rats.
I can but it will cost you 1,000 gold pieces.
Yes, of course. Anything you want.
The Pied Piper stepped out on the street and smiled. He pulled out his pipe and played 3 notes. Like magic, the rats started to come out onto the houses. Just 1 or 2 at first, then more and more. There were grey rats, white rats, brown rats and black rats, and they all came running out onto the street. They followed the piper step by step. They marched through the town until they came to the river. The people of Hamelin were enjoying the sight with their mouths and eyes wide open. The piper jumped on a stone in the water and stood on it, playing his pipe. One after the other, the rats jumped into the water, and very soon there were no rats left on the bank. All the people cheered.
Yay!
The Pied Piper went to the mayor for his reward.
I have done my job. It's time for you to keep your promise. Give me 1,000 gold coins as we agreed. You did a very good job, but 1,000 gold coins is far too much. You can have 100 gold coins. That is more than enough. I have done my job and you are breaking your promise. We agreed the price was 1,000 gold coins.
But the mayor and the people laughed.
The rats have gone now. We need to celebrate. No more rats! We got rid of the rats. The rats, 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 the rats, the rats away.
Pied Piper turned and walked out onto the street. He put his pipe to his lips and began to play a different tune. One by one, the children of Hamelin turned their heads and started to walk towards the piper. The piper started walking and the children followed him. Their parents and guardians were enchanted by the tune and couldn't move from their places. The Pied Piper walked across the river bridge and on towards the mountain. The children followed him. As he reached the mountainside, a mysterious door opened in the rock. The piper went inside and the children followed him. The door shut tight behind them. The only one left outside the door was a lame boy, and by the time he had got to the mountain, the music had stopped and the door had closed. The people ran to the mountain, but when they got there was only one child.
Where have all the children gone?
They all went through a door in the mountain, but it closed before I could get there.
But why were you following the Pied Piper? You know you should not go with strangers.
The tune promised to lead us to a place where there was chocolate cookies and cakes growing on trees. It even told me that I could run on my feet everywhere.
The people were sad and they started crying for their children. They called the mayor and they blamed him for everything.
This is all your fault!
I'm so sorry. I have lost my childhood. Look, I have brought 1,000 gold coins. Come back wherever you are, Pied Piper. Please give us our children back. The children are all safe and happy, and I will return them to you once you fulfill your promise. I'm so sorry for breaking my promise. Here, I have brought 1,000 gold coins for you.
When the mayor had given him 1,000 gold coins, the Pied Piper began to play. The door in the mountain opened and the children came running out and hugged their parents. The mayor and all the people have learnt their lesson.
I thank you on behalf of this whole town. Thank you for rescuing us from the rats and giving back our children. I will never break a promise again.
Sunshine in my heart.
But the piper had a warning for the mayor and the people of the town of Hamelin.
If you're not careful, the rats will all come back and you'll really lose your children.
What do you mean?
Hamelin is a very dirty town and none of you get rid of your rubbish properly. Rats and insects that love dirty places will come back and spread diseases, and then your children will become sick and could die.
No, we don't want that.
Then I, the mayor of the city, will make sure that we change. From now on, we will throw our rubbish in the dustbins and try to keep our town clean. What do you say, people?
Yes!
Thank you, Piper. You have given us hope again.
So the Pied Piper said goodbye and left the town. The mayor and the people tried really hard to get rid of their rubbish properly, and Hamelin became a clean town once more. Changing the way we behave is not easy. The people of Hamelin had to try very hard because they were so used to dropping their rubbish on the ground. But in the end, they succeeded because they all worked together. They didn't give up hope and they didn't give up trying because no one wanted the rats to come back or to lose their children again. We hope you enjoyed our musical about the Pied Piper and would like to finish with one more song which has a very important message.